Welcome to The Other Discovery Show, the podcast that's not about other podcasts. It's about all the other things we discovered this week. I'm Josh.
I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach.
So guys, we talked about this recently. It's pumpkin spice season, right?
Oh gosh, here we go
The weather
again.
gets a little cooler for everyone other than us Floridians.
Yeah, I tried the pumpkin spice pot pie. It was terrible.
Did you try the pumpkin spice cold brew?
No.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
good.
wait.
Are you kidding about
think I
a
did.
pumpkin spice pot pie?
I made that up.
Oh,
I don't think that's actually a thing. It sounds disgusting.
So guys,
but it also sounds like something that would actually happen.
everyone's getting involved in pumpkin spice season.
That's what I'm scared of.
And this year, we've got pumpkin spice limited edition for 2019 pumpkin spice Spam.
No!
Disgusting.
Yes, I'm going to order some. We will be feasting on it. We'll have a nice fall feast with pumpkin spice Spam.
It is officially the apocalypse.
So,
I mean, I'm wearing my pumpkin spice jeans, but I don't know
Yeah.
that, like, I could get it on Spam. That sounds weird.
so that's a thing. And from that, I found there's a lot of varieties of Spam. You guys ready?
I don't think so.
Spam Classic. Duh. Spam Low Sodium. Spam
Sure.
Light. Again, these are not interesting. However,
Spam white. It's like we took out half of the Spam and filled it with water.
it's 33% fewer calories, 25% less sodium, and 50% less fat. Made from pork with ham and mechanically separated chicken.
Oh,
No,
God.
it's good. Mechanically separated chicken.
All of those words are just like,
The robots rip the chicken off the bones. So they've also got Spam Hot and Spicy with Tabasco flavor. They've also got jalapeno Spam, Spam with black pepper, which I figure I could just make that myself by putting black pepper on my Spam. Spam oven roasted turkey, Spam hickory smoked, Spam spread, quote, if you're a spreader, not a slicer, just like Spam Classic, but in spreadable form.
so it's like,
So if you wanted
Spam Cool Whip.
if you wanted Spam-
spreading.
If you wanted Spam to be even grosser, you can get the spreadable version. Spam bacon.
Isn't that called like deviled ham or something like that? That's a thing.
they
it's
do
like
have
spreadable.
They do have like spreadable ham, and it's like pimento ham cheese. Yeah, they do have that.
I don't want anything that's called spreadable ham. Ham is not spreadable. It's a chunk of meat. Like, you can't spread it.
I
It's
mean,
like I can't believe it's not ham.
you're just not trying hard enough if you're not spreading your ham.
I had some spreadable turkey the other day. It was great. I don't know how they made it spreadable. They put it through a tube and some robots pulverized it, and then they squirted it on my sandwich.
So they've got Spam bacon, Spam cheese, Spam garlic, Spam teriyaki, which sounds amazing, Spam chorizo, Spam barbacoa, seasoned Puerto Rican style. I don't know what that means, but they've got it.
It tastes like a Puerto Rican.
Spam macadamia nuts, partnered with
Ew.
Hamakwa Plantation.
Wait,
Spam-
wait. So this is macadamia nut flavored Spam, or they flavored macadamia nuts like Spam?
The first one.
Oh, okay.
So it's Spam with some level of macadamia nut in it. Could
No-
just be flavor, could be nut chunks.
I don't think
know.
anyone needs that, though.
Needs or wants.
Both.
I mean,
Either or.
just prepare for the future.
I mean,
because the
don't get me
future is
wrong.
Spam.
I have had a Spam sandwich where
They've
you
got
fry
Spam
it.
turkey.
Oh, I grew up where that was sometimes dinner.
Not too bad.
They've got Spam turkey. They've got Spam tocino, Spam Portuguese sausage, and then our newest and boldest invention yet, Spam pumpkin spice. Limited edition
Disgusting.
variety released in late September.
Honestly, out of
2019.
that entire list, pumpkin spice sounds by far the worst.
It's probably amazing.
So I hope you guys loved our new segment, Spam Talk, where Josh
We call
just
it getting spammed.
lists
I mean-
spam flavors.
But you guys know where Spam came from, right? Hormel
Ham.
Foods. Hormel Foods.
A warehouse.
When World War II was going on, Hormel Foods basically couldn't create anything unless it was for the military, because we basically just turned all of our manufacturing to support the war efforts. And so they started creating Spam because they could ship it to the military everywhere. So they started shipping Spam everywhere, and it became popular during World War II, where people were buying Spam because it was like, hey, they're making this for the war, I'm going to eat it too. And it was kind of a solidarity type of thing. And it's shelf stable.
It's
And
like
it's Spam.
It's like Tang, where they used to say it was all for astronauts and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like ham tang.
Ham
So-
Tang.
for all of you scared of Spam, you shouldn't be, because the basic ingredients are all of our favorite foods. So pork with ham meat added. I don't know why it's not pork meat with ham meat added, but
The wording on this sketches me out even worse.
it's pork with ham meat added, salt, water.
Wait. Is it pork ham?
It's ham pork meat with horn.
It's pork. It's pork with ham meat added,
And bacon?
salt.
And also a little pork and a little ham pork.
I want to educate our listeners, guys. So please, let me finish.
I'm going to let you finish.
But first, Steakums is the best album of all time.
But they also clarify this is its basic ingredients. I don't know what its advanced ingredients are. They don't list that. But the basic ingredients are pork with ham meat added, salt, water. So you know it's good for you. It's got water in it. Got to make sure you get your 8 glasses of Spam a day.
Yeah, you don't need to drink water if you eat Spam.
Modified potato starch as a binder, sugar, sodium nitrate as a preservative, and natural gelatin is formed during cooking in its tins on the production line. So they cook it right in the tin.
They have enough fatty pork ham in there to gelatinize on its own.
So the
That
more you
is
know, guys.
disturbing.
Serving temperature recommended by Spam is hot or cold.
So
What does that even mean?
Why even recommend the temperature if it's
Serving
both?
temperature is hot or cold.
So
Just
not,
say all.
So not
all
medium.
temperatures.
No, not medium.
Oh, okay.
Not room temp.
Sorry.
So yeah.
So either stick in the freezer or heat it up.
A spam sickle.
So pork and ham meat is basically what it is. So everyone's favorite food, pork and ham meat.
Ham
Spam.
pork.
Eat it. It's good. I had a Spam sandwich this week.
So wait, this is
Or
dessert
a
spam.
sandwich. I don't know, maybe.
The pumpkin spice is dessert spam. So you eat
All
your
right.
regular sriracha spam or whatever you want to eat.
And then you have a
And
sweet ham pork afterwards.
Yes.
I'm calling-
with a side of macadamia and spam, and then you have your dessert with your pumpkin
then-
spice spam.
You have diarrhea.
I just figured it out. I'm calling the Spam Corporation of America to let them know I've got an idea. You've got the sweet potato pie Spam. It's like sweet potato and marshmallow flavored Spam. I
That
think
sounds better than pumpkin spice, honestly.
Dessert
Yeah.
Spam. I mean, dessert Spam is the future.
I'm just
I need to open a Spamery. We've got all 15 flavors of Spam. We'll make you gourmet Spam sandwiches, Spam wraps, Spam salads,
you live somewhere that would probably
Spam
take
burgers,
off.
I don't know, though. I feel like that's your entire week
fried
of sodium.
Spam, cold Spam,
The
hot Spam.
spamery.
The spammery.
It's a food truck for sure, and it's shaped like a Spam can.
I mean, the marketing's good. The idea is not.
Oh, the idea is good too.
You
We need
say
to
that.
we need to bring back Spam. We need to get rid of
It
needs
never
to
left.
Shed,
It just was niche
needs
to
to shed
begin
its
with.
shackles.
I'm going to move on
Rise
from
up
this.
triumphantly.
We've talked
from the
about
grave.
spam for 10 minutes now.
Okay, so after talking about spam, I am going to bring something that's a little bit of a downer, sort of, but it was really interesting when I
Spam
read
is
it.
an upper.
But it was really interesting when I read it. So I was reading an AMA the other day. The AMA says, "We are Seattle journalists who made a documentary about a man's choice to end his life using Washington's death with dignity law. Ask us anything." And I was immediately curious because I didn't know euthanasia was legal at all in the country.
I didn't either.
And so I wanted to just look a little bit into it. They do have an entire documentary. I'll link it in the show notes. First of all, it is probably going to be sad because the entire premise of it is euthanasia. But I wanted to talk to you guys about it because this is one of those things that we don't really talk about a whole lot in this country. It was kind of taboo for a long time to even talk about it. Like, it was just not okay.
And specifically, this is self-selected euthanization.
Yes.
So, like, if you're like dying of cancer,
Yes.
instead of living it out and fighting that and being miserable, you can choose, hey, I would like to be euthanized.
That is exactly his case. His name is Bob Fuller. He was diagnosed with terminal cancer at 75 years old, and he invited them, the documentarians, to share his story as he prepared to end his life using this new law that they put together. And they have a documentary out that, once again, we'll link. And also, they really want to bring visibility to the law itself because right now, people are not telling patients that it's available. Pharmacists sometimes will resist even filling the prescription for the law itself,
well,
because
Big Pharma makes a lot of money on people sustaining their life, and I use air quotes there, by keeping people alive
Sure.
past when they're healthy and
I
happy.
mean, you get into people's personal belief systems because and they even mentioned this in the AMA. I'm going to link the AMA as well because it's really interesting to hear the three people talking about this because it's a kind of a bittersweet thing. They're trying to be an advocacy group and bring awareness to something that, in theory, is something that's trying to relieve suffering. So, okay, there's a lot of rules for this. There's a lot of rules for even being eligible for this law that's in place. The requirements are you have to be a Washington resident, Washington State.
I was actually going to ask that. Can you,
No.
we live in Florida. If I wanted to do that.
I'm sure that they had to deal with this, and it's there's no, you can't just come here to do it. 2, you have to be of sound mind. 3, you have to have a terminal diagnosis with less than 6 months to live.
Okay.
And 4, you have to be able to self-ingest. So you have to be able to choose it. And at any point, if you don't want to do it, this isn't something where you're hooked up to a timer and you will.
What does self-ingest mean? You have to be the one that actually does the action?
One who says, give it to me. You know what I mean? Not I'm in a coma and you can just pump it into them. They have to choose it. So it's really it really comes down to being about trying to ease suffering. So it's for people that are terminal patients and they want to take the reins here. And so just a little bit of information. I'll once again check out this AMA. It's very interesting, not because it's uplifting or anything, but just because it's something that I feel in general maybe we should explore as a culture because there's some diseases people will die. They will die. It's terminal, you will die. And so is it better to
And sometimes they will suffer for a long time before they die.
Before that time. And so for some people, and literally the law is called dying with dignity. And so it's or death with dignity. And so it's one of those things that, is there something to that? It's more, I just wanted to kind of do this thought experiment with you guys because, okay, for Bob, he took 4 medications, compounded in a mixture, which they mixed with Kahlua, and he took it in his feeding tube. He felt nothing. He felt sleepy, and he fell asleep. And that was it. And so it's kind of a complicated thing of life. It's one of those things where all of us, life is the constant fight against the end, but we all in the same way. It's all of our destination. So it's one of those things that's kind of weird to deal with, but I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about how all of this could play out and how because they also talked about what are some of the arguments against it that you felt were compelling. And they said, for the most part, the only arguments that people had that were substantial was just their personal religion. They felt like it was against their religion to commit suicide. And that was basically it. All of Bob's family was supportive. They talk about how sad they were, obviously, on the day, because you had 3 documentarians who got to know this guy. They said the first time they met him, he was the nicest guy, and that's why I don't know that I'm emotionally prepared to watch this documentary. I think it's going to be brutal to watch somebody who's a caring person have to make this decision. But they asked him constantly, are you still wanting to make this choice? And he said, yeah, every time.
Yeah, and there's a podcast I listened to. I think it was Tim Ferriss's podcast where he had someone that was a specialist in end-of-life care and working with people on kind of making that transition from life to death. And everyone's going to make it at some point. And if you're living to old age, there is a lot of, and I like the phrasing they use of death with dignity, where a lot of times people are reaching end of life and they have these terminal illnesses. And what ends up happening is they lose control of their bowels and they're bedridden and they're hooked up to feeding tubes and breathing tubes. They're basically just stuck in a chair. They can barely talk. They can barely move. They can't eat. And they're in constant pain and suffering. And if you have to live with that for 6 months or a year or 2 years while they support you through all this medication and rack up medical bills and everything else, or you can say, I'm going to die. I know it's going to happen. I'm 75 years old. I have a terminal illness. I'm going to die. Let's make this easy. I'm going to choose the time and place. I'm going to say goodbye to my family. I'm not going to leave all of my... You basically lose a lot of your humanity in those last
You're kind of choosing
days,
to do it on
months.
your terms.
Yeah,
Right.
and you become a shell of yourself a little bit.
Right. And so before all of that happens, you can say, I know this is going to happen. Let's do it on my terms. And I think that's a really powerful thing. And I think that should be an option for people more broadly because of the power of it. And you look at the ways that it can be manipulated if the laws are not super tight and like, oh yeah, we're going to just put this person under to save money or whatever else.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like if it's self-selected, I don't feel like that can be abused.
Right.
Like, what level is that abused?
I don't know, man. It's such a nuanced and, like you said, a very taboo thing to even have the thought experiment of thinking of it. It feels weird. It feels weird to even just start thinking about it, because of where we come from and, you know, our upbringing and stuff like that. I don't know. I agree, because I wouldn't want to suffer.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want my family to suffer seeing me slowly, you know, wither away to nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a very, like, I believe in a DNR. You know, you and me talked about that a little bit ahead of time. I mean, I get that completely. And this is only like a tiny step away from that, basically.
And one of the things that makes it so hard is that people don't think about death. They avoid thinking about death as much as possible of their pets or their kids or their spouse or their parents. They don't want to think about those things. But it's going to happen to everyone. And there's a Stoic philosophy of you should think about your own mortality every single day. So there's people that are like very into Stoic philosophy now that they have a coin or a ring or something, or they like, I think
remember you will die.
Like, the skull on his desk. Like they'll people that have a skull on their desk saying, every time you look at that, remember you will die. And it's an empowering thing when you think about it.
It is, because
that memento mori or whatever.
Yes, exactly. And
it forces you to live.
Right. So people fear it their whole lives, and it's just this underlying fear in their whole lives. It's this undercurrent of I'm going to die at some point, and they're kind of scared of it. When you look at it face to face every day of I'm going to die, it could be today, but it's probably not today. So today is going to be awesome because I'm going to live it to my best of my ability, and I'm going to live today fully because I know at some point I will die, and I want to squeeze all the juice out of this life that I have.
I know it's real weird, but this was my first phobia in life. Was I remember in kindergarten, I remember where I was and everything. Like, I don't know why I have such a vivid memory of this moment, but I remember when I realized that everybody dies. Because I thought that only, like, unfortunate people died. I mean, I was, like, 5. But I don't know why I remember it. But I remember learning that everybody died. And it was a thing for a while. Like, I remember my parents having issues with it and having to have all these conversations with me, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And, like, it was this existential crisis that I had at such a young age of, like, I don't want to die. Like, why? I don't want to.
Yeah.
And it is something that's it's scary. It's scary to even think about.
And Zach and I's mom passed away when I was 23, Zach was 24. But since our mom passed away, I've thought a lot more about death since then. Like, having gone through a parent dying and experiencing that firsthand and being there when she passed away it's a very, very powerful experience, and it'll change your life instantly.
Yeah.
To experience that. And I've thought about it a lot more of just like, I will die at some point, and everyone that I know and love will die at some point, and being conscious of that and living your life to the fullest and making sure that you're making the decisions every single day of I will die at some point, but let me live today.
Sure.
And it changes things fundamentally.
I mean, honestly, the fact that this journey has an end makes the journey mean more. You see what I mean? It doesn't mean as much if there is no end point. It means something because we have a finite amount of time. And so we make choices. We make choices that are based on limited time and limited amount of availability just in general. And so it makes each of those choices have more weight. So it's one of those things, just like anything else, you can look at I'm going to die one day, or you can look at I'm living today. And it was mainly just, I saw this and it's very interesting. I didn't understand Washington's laws or anything like that. I have not watched the documentary. I was not in a place emotionally where I was like, okay, I want to go watch this documentary because I think it's going to be intense. They talked about the last day with Bob because the filmmakers were there with him, and they talked about they were there with all his family, and that they were crying with the family, and it was intense, but none of them wanted to change his decision. It was grieving, it was saying goodbye to somebody, but it was saying goodbye to somebody on his terms. It was something that he chose the time and the place for something that was coming for him anyways.
Yep.
And so it's just something that I just wanted to I thought it was interesting. I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention just because I feel like it's better to explore these things that are inevitable in life and honestly can empower your day-to-day life because that's everybody's destiny.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I don't think it's more than 100 to 150 years from now that we're going to start really looking at transhumanism as a reality, which is uploading our consciousness or our neurons or our brain into some sort of computer or a new brain or a new body. And death is going to change at some point. I think there will be.
That's why I'm freezing my brain.
So I think some of that at some level will come, whether it's a AI that represents who you were so people can still interact with you past your life, but it may not be you. It may be an AI simulation of you. Who knows? That's going to be crazy. And then the other thing is we'll use our bodies to make more spam.
Spam is people.
Got to bring it back to the spam. Spam is people. That's Soylent, my friend.
That's what the P in spam stands for. Salty people and meat.
And ham meats. And ham pork meats.
All right. So last week, I asked the Podcast Discovery Club if they had any discoveries, and I didn't check
and
the
he
Facebook
immediately ignored them
until later. So I'm sorry that I didn't mention it last week. But Vlado from It's Not Rocket Surgery podcast gave us a discovery that he had, and I love it. And we just watched one of the episodes, or one of the YouTube videos. It's a YouTube channel called Device Orchestra. And so what this YouTube channel is about is these folks, I don't know anything about them, but they find devices and they somehow wire them in a way that they make different sounds, and they can make a whole song based just off of the sounds of these devices. So let me name some of the videos that they have. The one that we watched was We Will Rock You on 7 electronic devices. They had like a credit card machine, an electronic toothbrush, and a typewriter, and I think like a razor. But it sounded awesome.
Yeah, it did. It sounded really cool.
I remember seeing a video a while ago of someone that set up like 30 floppy disk drives and made a song with that. So you see like some crazy stuff with these. It's super fascinating to hear the mechanical sounds made by these devices, and they usually use a microcontroller, so like an Arduino, that basically sends specific signals to each of the devices in time and rhythm to make the right sounds at the right times and the right rhythms.
Yeah, they even like zoomed in. They pointed the camera at like all the wiring and stuff.
There's lots of wires.
It looked like a nightmare to me, but I'm sure somebody that's a genius in wiring, it was interesting. So some of the other videos that they have is the Imperial March on a toaster. They have Super Mario Bros. Theme song on 2 credit card machines.
I don't like calling it Super Mario Bros. I know that's how it's spelled, but I always feel like it should be Super Mario Brothers. Give it its proper name.
I don't even say brothers. I say Super Mario.
They have Take On Me on dancing toothbrushes.
I like that song.
And they have one that they dressed up toothbrushes that they were playing the music with, and it's the Zelda theme song on 3 electronic toothbrushes with hats and wigs.
I like how they specified that. That's hilarious.
They did. But it looked like a very fun channel, just one of those like time sinks. You just find something fun and enjoyable, and it's a great discovery. Thanks, Vlado, for sharing it with us.
Yeah,
and if you have a discovery, send it to us on Twitter or join our Facebook Discovery Club, and we'd love to share it on a show as well.
Yeah, shout out to the Podcast Discovery Club. You guys are amazing. I will, I guess, just piggyback your YouTube video with mine, and I will link. I actually saw this from a tweet, so I'm going to link her tweet in the show notes as well, because I don't want to just rip her recommendation, because it's a good one.
So I love that you're taking people out in the world and bringing them into the Podcast Discoverers Club, whether they want to be or not.
Yeah.
They discover awesome things and share it with everyone else, and we see it, and now they're a member.
Yeah, no, if you discover cool stuff, you are an unofficial member until we make you official, which means come join our Facebook group, and you're official. Actually, no, you're official as soon as you discover stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a mindset. It's an ethos.
Yeah, it's a
lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle. It's a way of being that we appreciate and we're on board for. But yeah, she recommended this channel called De mi rancho a tu cocina, which just means from my ranch to your kitchen. And it looks like someone's abuela cooking delicious Mexican food in her kitchen, and she's trying to show you how to do it. And I love this premise. Honestly, I talked to the guys about this. This is the YouTube channel that I would make, is just letting people's grandmothers cook their specialty dishes, because it's usually so cultural based. A lot of times they learned it from their mothers, and it's like something that's important to them. And usually, at least in most of the cases I've been around, they want to feed their family, and it's important to them to even cook like this. And it really means a lot to them. And so just capturing that kind of passion, and also it tastes delicious. It's an absolute treat getting to eat at any of these places, because it's usually amazing, and you get to experience something that's so important to them that it's just a cool thing.
Yeah, and we've talked about food and the communal aspects and how it brings people together, and that it's almost a spiritual experience to cook a home cooked meal and share it with people. And it's something that transcends the functional aspects of what you're doing. You're putting some things together and making something that's food and tastes good, and you're cooking it and you're preparing it and it sustains people. It transcends all of that and becomes something much greater. And that's what's really amazing about kind of the home cooking and making food for friends and family and people that you love. Is it's a really, really cool, life-affirming experience every time I've been involved in it.
So yeah, we have a couple cool new YouTube channels for you guys to check out that I think are going to be fun.
Yeah, so I think we talked about this last Christmas, but I actually recorded my grandma making her, the family famous tamales. And I wish that I had good camera equipment, because I was just on my phone. But the whole point was, like, my family, all the people in my family wanted to know, like, how do we do this? Like, she's the only one that knows how to do it, and she's like 83 or something. It's like, we can't let this, disappear once she's gone. We have to be able to let this trickle down to the rest of our family. So this would be amazing to be able to have a channel like that.
Yeah,
some of this stuff is like, but the only thing with her, I'm sure it's with most grandmas, it's like it's a grandma handful of lard,
but that's
a little handful of this.
That's the thing with the visual format. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what was funny, because we tried to write down the recipe. You couldn't do it with her. She would be like, a handful. And then she would put like another half a handful. Like, why'd you do that? She's like, because it looked like it needed more. I'm like, well, dang it. No, I don't know how many cups that is.
No, Jaime is the same way. Like, I think that our friend tried to learn how to make like the patented kimchi recipe, because it's amazing. But it's the same thing. It's like handful of chilies and like handful of salt. And it's all just very intuitive by the point
it's something
that
comes with time. Like, it comes with experience and trial and error.
But that's what I want to capture, and I think that's what's captured on this YouTube channel, because she's just showing you how to cook her way, and it's a cool thing.
And a lot of times they're playing jazz where they may not have an ingredient, or maybe it was not in season, so they didn't have it, and so they put a little bit of different stuff in when they have it, and sometimes they don't have it, so they put something else. And it's really that, to your point, Kirk, doing it for a long time and understanding what works and what doesn't work, and just kind of winging it. And again, it's like playing jazz, where
got to improv a little bit.
Do a little bit of improv. So I got a Florida boy story.
Oh man, Florida boy?
Florida boy.
I don't think I know that one.
So there's a Florida student. He was a fourth grader, or he still is a fourth grader. They were doing a college spirit day at the elementary school, and they do this to basically get kids excited about going to college and pursuing.
That's really early to get a kid excited about college.
No, they start.
I get it,
but they start doing it in elementary school. Of like, hey, this is like, you're going to learn like a career in college, and they start looking at STEM and all those things. Yeah, and so they do these college spirit days, and this kid was super excited to wear his shirt, and I'm assuming this kid was kind of lower socioeconomic status, because he made his own T-shirt. So he basically drew on a piece of paper a design for the University of Tennessee, and basically like tacked it onto a orange T-shirt.
Okay,
so it's
which is their color.
Piece of paper just tacked onto a shirt on the front of it. And
the Volunteers?
Huh?
The Volunteers?
I don't know.
That's Tennessee.
But he was super, super excited about it, and when he wore it, his classmates started to like make fun of him. So there were girls at the lunch table next to him who didn't participate in the college spirit day, started making fun of him and the kid was devastated because he was super
This makes
excited
me
about
viscerally mad.
Yeah, so
I'm very mad right now.
So this happened, and the teacher said, "This is garbage," and was really, really mad about it. So she said that she was going to, so she posted about it on Twitter, the teacher. She was livid, like you are. So she posted on Twitter and said she was going to buy a UT shirt for him and ask friends whether they had any connections at the college to make it a little extra special. So they took it one step further. They got in contact with the university, and the university took his design and made it into an official T-shirt sold on the school store.
All right.
And
that's the turnaround
now
I
they're
was
selling
hoping
it,
for.
and people are buying it like crazy.
I just got chills.
And
I love
they put
this
together
story.
this whole care package for the kid and really made it special for him. Sent him one of the custom designed T-shirts, told him the whole story, and just made this kid's day. And it's like, thank you, teacher, for making a difference. Because that's what it's not about. Like when you're teaching elementary students, my wife's a teacher. It's not about just teaching the kids, oh, you need to learn math, you need to learn this. That's a part of it. You can only control so much there. It's about making these kids' lives meaningful and making an impact for him. This kid, that could have been a devastating moment that he held on to for the rest of his life. As like, I was in 4th grade and I wore this shirt. And who knows the psychological damage and impact that could have had on him. But she took that moment that could have been the worst day of his life and turned it into the best day of his life. I guarantee that kid is just on cloud nine. The fact that they made a T-shirt for him and like, it's so inspiring. And I want to see 20 years from now. Does that kid go to UT? Does he graduate with the degree?
It seems hard to imagine that he doesn't go to UT.
I mean, it's one of those stories where you hear it and you're initially like, I hate children. I want to punch those children, girls. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is great.
Kids are mean.
Yeah.
Like, kids are mean to each other. Because they're trying to, like, they don't know.
They should know. Because when my son says something mean about anyone, I'm like, that's not very nice. Like, why would you say that? And I call him out on him. I said, do you feel like it would be nice if someone said that about you? And he's like, no. But like every time he says something mean about anyone, even if it's on like a TV character or anything, I'm like, do you think that's very nice? And he'll be like, no. And he'll kind of think about it.
Same thing, man. I mean, it's just part of growing kids up.
Part of
he was being mean to me while I was playing Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse with him.
I'm sure he was. But that's the whole thing is like, I have to coach my son daily on if he says something mean, I want to coach him through that and tell him why it's not okay and why he shouldn't do that. And parents need to be more involved with their kids. Teachers need to be more involved, all of that stuff. But this is a really cool, uplifting story to show you if you give a kid a little bit, like it's just going to make their day. It's going to make their week. It's going to make their year. This could change that kid's life. It's a little hyperbolic, but that literally could change that kid's life.
No, I feel uplifted.
And it's great.
It helped me just because she made the right move.
That teacher deserves some sort of award, pay raise, whatever it is, and she deserves all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I kind of copped out about a little bit on this week's episode because the Podcast Discovery Club's kind of been killing it, and everyone's been kind of giving us some discoveries, so I wanted to highlight those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keith sent a discovery this week that I loved. He actually sent 2 in, but I'm going to pick this one.
Keith is the man.
Keith is the MVP. He's always MVPing all over the place.
Most valuable podcaster.
Yep. He is the podcast host of the Pop-Up Filmcast, which we've been on technically twice.
Yeah.
If you could say.
3/3.
In a way.
We've been on 3/3 of a time.
3/3 of a time.
3/3 of a time.
So he sent me this article about Samuel L. Jackson signs on as the first Amazon Alexa celebrity voice.
Oh, my God.
I love that.
I mean, first of all, I kind of do love that. I would love for my Alexa to yell at me like Sam Jackson does.
If I cannot ask it about the snakes on my plane and get a response about the snakes,
they've got
and how he's tired about
Easter eggs and stuff. They have to.
They have to.
They have to. Some of the other affiliates that they have are Super Bowl ads featuring the likes of Harrison Ford, Cardi B, and Anthony Hopkins.
Super Bowl ads?
I don't know.
Lame. I just want to be able to ask Alexa, are there too many snakes on this plane? And I want to, and I know what the answer should be.
Do you have to change how you address it? Do you have to say Mr. Jackson?
Mr. Jackson, are there too many snakes on this plane? I want to experience that. I don't even want an Alexa. I want to go to somebody else's house, put Sam Jackson on that Alexa, and then ask it that question.
So this reminds me of a time I trolled my wife. We went to Disney and stayed out in a hotel out there. And
you've been to Disney before? I thought you didn't like Disney.
I'm not fond of it, but
He's never heard of it.
we were leaving Disney, and I think it was earlier in the day. I had used her phone to navigate, and I saw that there was a button I could hit to change the voice of navigation. And one of the options was Medea's super scary, spooky Halloween
Oh, God.
That
it's
was
so
an option?
specific.
for navigation voices.
As soon as I saw something that specific, I'm like, no.
And I said, yes, I'm doing that because it wasn't my phone. It was her phone.
Man.
So I do that. It was like the day before or like on the way there or something. And she didn't know I did it. And then we leave Disney and I say, okay, navigate us back to our hotel. And she puts that on. She's like, what is it? What is this? And she's yelling at me because we're exhausted. After you've been at Disney for a full day, it's exhausting.
It's pretty tiring, yeah.
And we're trying to find out where we're going in the dark. And Medea is yelling,
Hello.
oh, there's a scary left turn coming on up here. You got to be careful. And it's just super goofy and terrible. And you can hardly tell what it's trying to tell you to do. And she was so mad the whole time. And I was just giggling uncontrollably the whole time driving back to our hotel. So the world needs more voice assistance with celebrity.
I think Snoop Dogg
Buy
did navigation before, too.
It's probably amazing.
When I was listening to all those episodes of 20,000 Hertz, because I just went down that rabbit hole, there was an episode where they talked about the guy that did the whole, like, you've got mail. And at one point, AOL, that's who did it, right? AOL?
Yeah, it was AOL.
They did celebrity voices. And that, like, 99% of the people chose to keep that guy's voice because they were so used to it, and it becomes so ubiquitous of, like...
Oh, it's burned into my brain
the
now.
name, the voice. I mean, for You've Got Mail, and it's funny because they interviewed him and stuff, and he at one point was an Uber driver for a while, just like for extra income, and they've got people with recordings of him be like, dude, my Uber driver is the You've Got Mail guy, and it was great, but that made me think of like celebrity voices, for things like Alexa.
I want Gilbert Gottfried on my Google Home.
Oh, God.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
That's what you need for like your alarm in the morning because you want to go turn that thing off immediately.
Yeah.
You need to
I've
get it
got
out of
brushy-
arm's reach and something very annoying.
I've got brushy one-string chicken in the corn as my alarm still.
I don't know how that you're not annoyed by
morning.
that by now.
That would drive me insane. Not
And
even slowly.
It's
very
just the
quickly.
ska part, too.
I know, it's the worst part of that song. So here is a quick little snippet of what Josh's alarm sounds like so everyone can get a appreciation of that.
What's the guy's name?
Brushy one string. Yeah. So that I discovered in a kind of a random thread this week. Do you guys know what tinnitus is?
I do now, but I didn't before.
It is just the ringing of your ears. It can be from ear damage, or it can be like, I think you can develop it, and it's a real pain for people to get past because it's annoying to have a ringing constantly in your ears. And I saw somebody talk about a life hack, and I wanted to put it out there just so if anybody has tinnitus that's listening to this podcast, you can try something out. He says, put your palms on your ears and thump the soft spot in the back of your head with your fingers. It should resonate and feel like your head is the inside of a drum. 15 to 30 seconds. It makes the tinnitus go away for a while for most people, and sometimes mine goes away for the rest of the day. And then literally down the thread, people are like, dude, that worked. And then even I saw this posted in another thread, cross-posted to another one, and people are like, what is happening? How is this working? I think it actually works. I don't have tinnitus. I just want to put it out there for if anybody that does, try it out. It might help you out. I know how annoying it is. Hopefully, it gets rid of your tinnitus.
For anyone that has tinnitus and is struggling with it, that's a game changer. Because from what I've heard, is it drives people insane. Like you're trying to sleep and you just hear buzzing. So that's an amazing one. If it helps 2% of people that have tinnitus, that's a win.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing. And for the last discovery of the week, we have a discovery band.
Yep.
This week they're called Young Gun Silver Fox.
That is an awesome name.
It is a duo, and it is a mixture of California and London. They consider themselves yacht rock. I don't know if you guys have listened to any of this type of music, but think kind of soul, poppy, upbeat poppy stuff. Really, I don't know. They have some really good songs. This is from their album, called West End Coast from 2016, and the song is called Better. Thanks for listening. As always, join the Podcast Discovery Club. Tell us what you discovered. Let us know on Twitter. Get in touch in any way, and thank you for listening.
Bye, guys.
Tell me, baby, what can I say? Baby, what can I do to put the smile back on your face? You don't gotta worry, oh no, 'cause worrying's a waste of time with just a little bit of faith. Yes, everything will be alright. Don't be afraid to show exactly how you feel. 'Cause if I was in your shoes, baby, you'd be there for me. 'Cause whenever I'm feeling blue, you make me better. Whatever I'm going through, you make me feel better. You come to my rescue. Oh, baby, what can I do to help you chase your troubles away? Baby, what can I do? Whoa, to brighten up your rainy day. You don't gotta worry. Oh no, 'cause I'll be here right by your side with just a little bit of faith. Oh, yes, everything will be alright. Now don't be afraid, I'll try to hide behind the truth. 'Cause if I was in your shoes, baby, you'd be there for me too. Because whenever I'm feeling blue, you make me better. Whatever I'm going through, you make me feel better. Whenever I'm feeling blue, you make me better. Whatever I'm going through, you make me feel better.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network.
You can check out more shows like it at oddfixnetwork.com.